Ayo, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yehovah, Yehoshua, this is Sound some YYBY. Let me give y'all some Jews right quick. All right, so now we got those who, which reason have certain features. We got those who too much really don't care about it. They cool the way it is. Speaking for me, there's certain features that I want, but there's also certain features that reason didn't have. It inspired me to, or pushed me to find a better way or appreciate the other way. So, this video is not about not wanting certain features. This video is about certain things that reason don't have and some things that it might do have. You know, I want to inspire you to show you, and so you can find a way to do it. It inspire you to do better, to make you want to appreciate what you're doing, and just give you a different perspective on how you can get it done, and you know, and how can you accomplish it. And also that sometimes when we can't get something the way we want it, sometimes when we end up doing it another way, we actually appreciate it that way more, if that makes sense, right? So, you know, I went through a couple features that that reason don't have, that, you know, a lot of dolls have, that people keep coming to my page crying about that it don't have and shit. Like I can save you or some shit. You know what I'm saying? You want to argue with me about it? Go to reason, man. You know what I'm saying? I do the same thing, bro. Like, you know, everybody got different workflows. Everybody got different things they really need. You got things that's very important that people can't go without. And you got things that you want, but it's not a deal breaker. Like, and I know, speaking for me, if it's a deal breaker, I can't use a certain dog. You get what I'm saying? So the first thing I want to start with is strip silence, right? So reason don't have strip silence, right? If y'all don't know what strip silence is, Studio One call it that. Different dogs call it different things, where you got vocal tracks, you know, say you got these vocal tracks, something like this, say this is the vocal track, and you want to clean those unwanted noises, right? And in certain dogs, they got this option where you tweak it a certain way, you know, you tweak it, the settings a certain way, and then you press the button. Then what it does, it'll cut all those unwanted noises out of the vocals. So that means you can grab all your 20 tracks, 30 or 40, 50 or whatever the vocals are, and you highlight those tracks and you tweak that option a certain way. You press the button to cut all of them out. But now, this is the con about that I experienced using DAWs like Cubase and Studio One. Regardless of how perfect you set that option, you still have to go back and check each one of those audio files, because what happens is that sometimes it still cut the wrong audio files off. It might cut them off too much, regardless of how much you thought you set it properly. It'll work on certain pieces, but some pieces it'll cut certain important emphasis or important words off. Trust me, it been times where I go over vocals and I be like, what the fuck, something missing. Right? Because if I'm in Studio One, what I do, you know, once I start editing everything or do it a certain way, I bounce it. So now I don't bounce the track, right? And now I bounced it to a point where I can't even go back to that part that's missing. And I'm fucked. So what I end up doing in other DAWs is that before I do anything to these audio tracks, I highlight them and I make another copy of them. And I turn them to one color, put them in a folder inside of another DAW, and then I hide that folder. You see what I'm saying? Now, I do the same thing inside Reason, but what I do, I just turn them to a gray color, and I get them and I drag them to a certain area, and I minimize that little arrow like that, make it very small, and they out of sight, out of mind. They just very small, even though they might be on the mixer, but it doesn't bother me, right? So if I ever F up on something, I can go back. But I also got a previous video that show you how you can mess up on an audio file, and then when you press edit and go to comp, it'll still have all the information that you effed up on, so you can always get it back. That's the dope thing about the option of that in Reason, right? So not to get off the subject. So In strip silence, that's what they do in other DAWs. But I got to a point where I was at a point where, I start strip silencing, cutting pieces off myself like that, personally, manually, and fading little parts and playing it back, and you know what I'm saying, and go to the next part like that, and then go between the vocals and cut that piece out and cut that piece out. Because when I do it, it takes a little time, but when I do it like that, I know it's all right. I don't have to go back over and listen to it again. I don't have to go back and like, damn, I fucked something up, because I manually did it, and I can do it better and more precisely when I do it manually. So that's why I say not having the strip silence got me out my lazy bag and got me into doing it manually, when actually manually is actually better. That's what I'm saying. When it come to cutting pieces out, fading them to make them sound softer, and all these type of things. And then once you sit here and bounce that track together, when you sit here and put that track together and join it anyway, all those fade options, you still can go down here and go to, I think slice edit. Hold on, is it slice edit? No, not slice edits. My bad. You go to slice, you go to comp edit, and when you go to comp edit, you got these options right here where now you can fade those options, is what I'm saying. You can fade those. You can click right here. You can fade those. You can do the fades right here of that audio to make it sound more smoother. So that's the thing of strip silence, right? Strip silence. All right, so now auto punch. A lot of people need auto punch. I like auto punch, but what I don't like about auto punch because some people have a tendency of want to auto punch one word, and sometimes what happens when you auto punch one word is that a lot of people are not good at keeping the same tone, or sometimes when they auto punch one word, they don't have the skills to, try not to make it sound clippy, or it's all type of weird things that come with auto punching one word. Now, if you're willing to auto punch at least a bar, that's what makes more sense, right? So auto punch is always a good thing to have. Don't get me wrong. But the question is, do you really need auto punch? Because people say, well, I need auto punch because I record myself. Say if this is the vocals, right? And what happened was I cut this piece and I want to say that part over. I don't have auto punch. What I can do, I can add another track, right? Come back here, start back here, press record, and then say that part easily. And then on top of that, what I realized when you do it this way, you have smoother transitions from this word to that word. Sometimes you have a better way of coming in and sounding more smooth. Sometimes it sounded more realistically, sometimes it sounded more authentic where, it sound like as if it's two people, it just make it sound more smoother because the word you say right here, you coming in with another word, so to kind of be like this. If you put that down here, so sometimes you might repeat this as you saying the over. Sometimes you might repeat this, saying this. You might repeat this when you're about to say the new part. And sometimes that new overdub part, you might want to keep that. And about time you say the next part, it's coming in smooth. It's not clipping off, if that makes sense. It's not clipping off at all. The transition is better. It flows better. So, you go up here, then you go to the part, you tag in that part. So what you do, you record, you press record. So now when you're ready to tag in the next part, you go to the next track right here, back up to the next track. You start back somewhere, and then, you press record. You know what I'm saying? You're saying that part. So for those who saying that they want to record themselves, I actually do this. This is how I record artists when they want to tag in. And I found out that this is actually more better the way the vocals blend. Even though auto punch option is still great to have, and it helps, to say things, quicker, because what you do when you're auto punching, you got that left and locator you say, okay, I want that audio to start right here and I want that audio to end right here. And normally when you go back and you press record, As soon as it goes, it's going to start recording right here where that left locator at. So something that does help. But again, you know, you still can get that done using it this way. And sometimes if you punched in, and let's say you recorded it like this, where you didn't say nothing over this part. Before you start mixing, you snap, let's bring it up here to that track and bring them all up on one track and bring them all together and then press Control-Z. Now you got all the vocals together, boom, on one track. Then you can get that track out the way and move it out the way before you even start mixing. You know what I'm saying? Like it just weighs around things. All right. Markers. Since we don't have the option markers and there's so many things you can do with markers. Yes, I know, fellas, there's certain dolls. But what I found out, how I can use markers if I want to identify, let's say a person want to come in right here and I say, okay, this is the beginning of the track, or, you know, later on down the road of the music, it's a, you know, I'm trying to identify when the person come in. They be like, yo, this is the start location. So what I can do, I can go to get the pencil, you know, and when I get the pencil, I can draw, right? I can draw, you know, take the snap off. I can draw at that location real quick, like a little mark. And what I do, I have an option that says start location. I can have markers 1, marker 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can name my markers whatever I want to name them and start location. So now I know that this is the start location of that piece, right? I can go down here and say, you know, maybe down here, you know, this is the start location of, you know, whatever, you know, of whatever I want to call it, right? So that's kind of like a marker. The only difference is that in some dolls, when you're dealing with markers, you know that you can double click that marker somewhere over here and it'll start playing it, you know, it'll start playing that marker location, you know. So you won't get all the options of the you know, the unique things that markers do, but you can mark some shit inside of Reason by using these things right here, you know. Then you also can click that marker right here and then press left locator. I mean, Control L, it'll left locate that marker. Or better yet, I can just move these out the way. I can highlight that, select that marker and press P. So whatever I put that, you know, wherever I put this marker right here, it's gonna play this. It's gonna automatically loop this. So that's really kind of like a marker, if you get what I'm saying. So if I want to go to that marker, press P. It start playing it, you know. If I got a longer, if this is a marker right here, press P. you see what I'm saying? So it is a way you can do things, you know, when it comes to certain features, fellas. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna keep going, but let me try to bring some vocals in.